Right. So it looks like we are live. So if you could let me know that you can hear me and see me okay, first of all, and perhaps let me know where you are and where you're tuning in from as well. And then we'll just slowly get going once I know that everything is working as it should. So could somebody, yeah, comment and let me know? Yeah, awesome. All right. Hello, Deborah. Yeah, okay. So I take it you can see me and hear me okay, yes? Yes. Okay, yes, I can. Okay, great. Got that. Perfect. So I'm assuming everybody else can as well. Excellent. Oh, nice. Norway. Awesome. So hello. Oregon. Fantastic. Hello, Michelle. Yes, of course, it's good morning to you. Some of you, it's good morning. If you are in Europe, then it's more of the afternoon, evening. It is 6 o'clock in the evening here in Spain. Yeah, if you're up reasonably early this Saturday morning, then that's great. Thank you very much for doing that and for joining me. I am excited about what I have to share with you. It's totally transformational. If you don't know it already, then I really hope that you connect with it the way I've connected with it and the way my clients are connecting with it, because it is truly incredible. So whilst people are still joining and arriving, let me just tell you what I'm planning to do here. So first of all, I am going to just give you some ins and outs about the summit that is coming up. It's starting on Friday, as you know, just because it is actually going to be slightly different. We're going to do slightly different things this time. So I just want to make sure that you make the most out of it. Also, of course, as I promised, I'm going to teach you something really great that will be so helpful for you in terms of combating any unwanted negative feelings or emotions. And you will be able to use it over and over again, and even use it with your family, use it with your kids once you get a hang of it. And it is really simple, so it doesn't take a lot of getting hang of it. So that is what's coming up. And then I'll have a bonus for you at the end as well. So just in the name of a bit of an introduction, you may already know this if you have been in my community for a while, that I have overcome major health challenges. And the most important thing that I did to get my health back on track was to deal with emotional trauma and emotional toxicity, which is the very reason why I am so passionate about it and why I talk about it so much. And in fact, it is one of the most important things people can do for themselves when they have chronic illness. But a lot of people don't realize that. Because in the West, first of all, a lot of people in the West obviously are still conditioned into this way of thinking that drugs will fix them, which most of the time that doesn't happen, and they end up massively disappointed, if not worse off than when they first started. But even when people get away from drugs and go natural, they usually tend to think that they can fix everything with diet. And of course, I am a nutritionist, and don't get me wrong, diet is foundational and we need to get it right. However, really how your body processes food, even, never mind everything else that goes on in the body, but even when we're just thinking about how the body processes food, it depends on the state of your nervous system. A lot of things that go on in the body really depend on the state of your nervous system. And of course, a lot of really the state of your nervous system, a lot of that and what state that is in is by your emotional state. And that is why anything that we can do to improve the relationship with ourselves, so we have this inner calm about who we are, about we feel good about our own identity, we feel good about our relationship with other people, and anything that can combat any anxieties, fears that we may have, or any, in fact, unwanted negative feelings, any of that sort of toxic stuff that goes on in people's heads 24/7 sometimes. In fact, in a lot of cases, It's just something that goes on all the time, and a lot of people never switch off from that. And this is why people are physically ill. A lot of the time, that's the reason why. But even if they have other triggers, such as food triggers, toxicity, pathogens, whatever else, that emotional activation, that sort of nervous system activation and overdrive that people find themselves in because they have all that emotional stuff going on, is stopping them from healing. So this is why we're doing this summit, because you will hear this from speakers over and over again. So I want to do events like this and talk to all of those fantastic people, because I don't want people to just hear it from me. Other people know this also and obviously apply it, and they feel exactly the same about this, and the science shows this very clearly. So about the summit, we have obviously many amazing speakers, as you may already know, because some of you may have chosen to sign up to watch it because you've seen the speakers who are going to share the information. So we have interviews. I am doing a presentation on transaction analysis, so it's not all interviews. But what I've decided to do this year that I think is going to be, I'm hoping, quite popular, is that essentially what I want to do is not just give people information. Information is important. It's also awareness and knowledge, because if we don't have awareness of something, we're not going to be able to create any changes in our lives, because we don't even know we're supposed to be creating it, or we're not even sure what we're supposed to be doing. So that knowledge base and the content is very important. The information is important. The understanding of neuroscience, what trauma is, how it all works in the brain, it's all important. But ultimately, what I want people to have is, I want people to have the tools to help themselves to get on top of some of those toxic thoughts, emotions that they may have, so that they can enhance their healing processes and their recovery. And so therefore, I decided to introduce this year, every day of the summit, we're going to have a session that is a practical session. It's going to focus around different modalities. So every day for 7 days, we're actually going to have something different. So we're going to have, I'm going to do affirmational havening. I'll explain a little bit more about what that is and what to expect from that in a moment. We're going to have Qigong. We're going to have breath work and grounding yoga session. We're going to have Mr. Hopkins doing sound healing as well. Craig Winner, Dr. Craig is going to talk you through EFT protocol. So we're going to have those different things, because different modalities appeal to different people. So I am keen to just talk to as many people as I can find that who are willing to share, and then have people exposed to as many different modalities as possible, because everybody resonates with something different. And if you just even pick 2 or 3 things that really appeal to you and really work for you, then you're already creating yourself a nice toolkit to really serve your health and other aspects of your life as well. And if you happen to be a practitioner who's working with other people, then again, you are picking up so many ideas from all of those people, and that enhances your practice and how you help people. So the ripple effect is great, and so those events are, that's why I do them. That's the hard work, but that's the reason why. So obviously each day will be themed, and we're going to focus on day 1. We're going to focus on consciousness and quantum healing, introducing the concept of quantum healing and what that's all about, and longevity as well. Then on day 2, we're going to focus entirely on improving the relationship with ourselves, because that really is the main key to healing. And then day 3, we're going to start looking at different ways of healing emotional trauma. There's obviously loads and loads in the session. If you happen to watch the summit we did last year, this was the first PsychoHealthology summit we did last year. We already introduced a number of ways at that point of healing emotional trauma. So of course, I'm not repeating information. I'm keen for this summit to be a totally new information, completely different from last year. So it's like a progression, really. I'm just seeing that people are still coming in. Hello, Ayla, is it, if I'm pronouncing it right? Beautiful day in Minneapolis. Cool, that's great. Welcome everybody. And so, so each day is themed. We're going to then look at even more ways of healing trauma. We're spending 2 days of just ways of healing trauma, and that is on top of what we've already done last year. All right, you're from Finland. Okay, so we've got some European participants here, and we've got people from the US. Fantastic, that's really great. I really love connecting with people in all those different parts of the world. It's brilliant. So then, just following on from there, we will be looking at the different ways of utilizing Eva from Poland. Great, because obviously I originally come from Poland, and originally my name is Eva also, but nobody could pronounce it properly, so that's why it got converted into Eva. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And El Salvador, wow, that's awesome. So yeah, we've got so many people here. Feel free to be interactive. I love to do those sessions and be interactive. So hopefully everybody will get heaps of benefit out of this. So basically, that will be the summit. We're going to be also looking at different ways of healing the brain, specifically training the brain, so we can prevent nasty things in the future, such as Alzheimer's and dementia and stuff like that. So we were really utilizing and combining the psychoenergetic aspects and just the pure neuroscientific and how to work with the brain. So that will be included. And then after the summit's finished, so we're going to have 7 days of new information. Then we're going to have an encore day. I always do that. People can catch up on what they've missed. And then on September 25th, Dr. Darren Wiseman, who will be one of the speakers and was one of the speakers last year, but this year we're talking about something different, expanding from last year, really. He's going to do a healing session called the Healing Circle. And that's going to be 1 hour and 10 minutes with Darren. A wonderful, fantastic session modality that he's developed, Lifeline technique. And everybody is invited to attend that. So that's going to be fantastic, because there's probably going to be hundreds of people on that call, on that session, participating in the Healing Circle. So that's going to be amazing. And I will soon be sending a link for you to sign up to that session and make sure that you've reserved your place for that. So, right. So what I want to do today, I want to share with you today, you may be familiar with havening techniques. You may have heard me speak of this before. There's different ways of using havening techniques. If you haven't heard of this before, then havening is a type of psychosensory modality. Psychosensory means that we actually are stimulating the receptors on the skin in order to create changes in the brain. So that it falls into that category of psychosensory modalities. It's based on the fields of neuroscience and neurobiology, and it is essentially uses sensory input to alter thought, moods, and behavior that we want to alter. It was developed by Drs. Ron Rudin and Dr. Stephen Rudin. And if you want to, so I'm not going to go into the neuroscientific background of this. In fact, during the summit, we do a session with Dr. Kate Truitt on neuroscience of trauma, which is just brilliant. Just how Kate describes those processes is very, very accessible. You don't need to be clued up on neuroscience, but it gives you that basis and the understanding of how your brain works and what happens in the brain when trauma occurs. And Kate happens to be one of the trainers of havening, so we're talking a little bit about that in the session. But if you want more information about the ins of it, how scientific basis of it, which it definitely has, and it's very solid, and then the website to go to for that and all sorts of other information is called havening.org. I'm going to put that in the box. So if you want to check that out, you can check that out later on. But But basically, just to give you an idea, so when an event or experience is perceived as traumatic or stressful by a person, what happens is it becomes encoded in the psyche and in the body. And of course, as we know, it can have life-altering consequences, trauma, emotional trauma. So havening is basically designed to make changes in the brain in order to de-traumatize and remove those traumatic components from the psyche and the body, so decode the trauma. And so that could be emotional trauma in terms of big emotional trauma. People understand that as PTSD. But of course, there's loads and loads of different types of trauma. We're talking a lot about different types of trauma during this event. So you will definitely, you may not even, certain things you may not even have considered before in terms of trauma. So listen to as many sessions as you can, because that will definitely expand your understanding about it, for sure. And so this healing modality is really designed to help individuals overcome problems that are consequences of this traumatic encoding, right? And so, but at the same time, havening can do a fantastic job also with planting positive ideas within our subconscious mind. So it's got this different levels at which we can use it. So we can use it with severe trauma, and I work with severe emotional trauma with people with chronic illness who have chronic illness predominantly because due to the emotional traumas and also other factors. But when you resolve the trauma, a lot of the chronic illness resolves itself, because, like I said earlier, the nervous system activation just comes right down, and the body can have it gets in the right space to heal, right? Because if we constantly activate it on the sort of in terms of the fight and flight, then the body can't heal. We can't heal in that state. So, so we've got that level. Then, of course, we've got just day-to-day stress management, which this modality is perfect for. And I tell you, I don't just use it with clients. I use it with myself. And if I have an irritated moment, or I get stuck in traffic, I'm really irritated, I'm being held up, or whatever else happens, I go to it straight away, and I just haven there and then for literally a couple of minutes, and that goes away, and I'm going back to being calm and collected. So I do use it all the time, and I, having used it for so long, I just instinctively go to it when I'm in a stressful state, so I can deal with it straight away. So that can be very helpful for you in those situations, and I'll obviously teach you exactly that today, how to use it in that way. And then, of course, like I said, it can be super helpful in terms of planting positive ideas. So it can be great for any belief change, motivation building, goal setting, and for developing a better relationship with yourself, boosting your own self-worth. It's brilliant for that. So, as I mentioned earlier, one of the practical sessions during the summit I am doing for you, and I'm hoping that you'll be joining in with that, a 15-minute havening session, just to do exactly that. So I'm doing affirmations for healing, affirmations for relaxation and calm and inner peace and all of that sort of thing. So we're doing, so just a completely different application, but very, very powerful as well. So I hope you join me for that session during the summit, because I've got some cracking affirmations in there that you can just then go and absolutely feel free to nick them and use them yourself. I hope you will. But today, we're going to actually attempt working with something that upsets you. So I will show you how you can manage your negative emotions with this modality, okay? And it's obviously will be slightly different protocol for that. And so first, in a minute, I'm going to demonstrate the technique. I'm assuming most people are not familiar. Is there anybody here who knows havening techniques already? I'll be actually interested to know how many people are familiar and how many people are completely new to this. That would be helpful if you could just comment on that, and I'll sort of gauge as you're commenting. So I'll demonstrate, and then I'm going to ask you to choose some sort of negative experience that you may have had recently that is still causing you some negative emotions, that may be something that you keep thinking about, keep going back to, you struggling to let go of it, it is still irritating you. Oh, awesome. Yes, of course, I shared that. I completely forgot about that. So you did Kim says, of course, watched your havening last week. I forgot that I shared that. So that was affirmational havening. Okay, so that was a way of using this modality to plant positive ideas in your mind. And I'm glad you said, Kim, that you love it. I love it too. I hope that I'm going to sell it to other people here. And Anna says that she's familiar also. But yeah, if you have done it, I don't know in what way, in capacity you are familiar, Anna, but just sort of stick around to see whether there's maybe something new that you're going to pick up here as well through the session. Because everybody, obviously the havening touch is the same, but everybody's got a slightly different way of working with it. So oh, great. Familiar from previous. Great. Okay. So I'm spreading the word. I'm pleased about that. But like I said, so previously I shared it in a sort of affirmational way, which is powerful. It's great. It's something that, do it for a few minutes in the morning, and you will see how that sets you up for the day, and how that creates that what we all want. It creates that calm and that peace that you want inside of you, and therefore the healing, regeneration, and repair of the physical body happens at a much deeper level when you're in that state, as we know. That's why meditation is so powerful as well. So the one thing that I'm going to ask you is, when I ask you to come up with some sort of experience that maybe you find annoying, upsetting, causes you any sort of emotions like anger, frustration, sadness, or anything negative that you negative feeling, then I will ask you, this is important. Now, this is really important, okay? There is a lot of people here on this call, and of course, I cannot see you. So please, please, please do not dig out your biggest emotional thing that you've got going on. This is not the time and place for it. If you feel that we have a little play with it, you go through the protocol with something fairly light, okay, and we don't want to open any Pandora boxes here. It's not what this is not, would not be appropriate for this particular setting. But if you feel, I really love this technique, I've got something deeper I want to work through, then you know what, just contact me for a consultation and we can talk about it. Or if you don't want to work with me, go to havening.org, and you've got all of those practitioners there who do it. So don't bring your biggest emotional problem here right now to the table. I really want you to come up with something, just so you have an example, and you can just work on something like let's say for example, if you had an argument with somebody and it still makes you, when you think back to that, and it still makes you a little bit angry or sad or frustrated or irritated, and you're thinking back and you keep going back to that in your head, and you're thinking, oh God, that was so annoying and it still gets to me and I can't let it go. Something like that would be okay. If you're scared of spiders, birds, dogs, kiwi fruits, whatever, if you have that sort of frightful response to something, that would be okay to use on this occasion. If you know somebody who may have a habit that irritates you, something that you don't want to keep pointing out to them that is irritating, because you don't want to hurt their feelings, or maybe you don't want to spark an argument, but you find it really annoying, you can work on that. You can work on your own response. Or maybe a feeling of being blocked or being stuck and not being able to move forward. Something like that would also be appropriate. So hopefully I'm giving you some ideas on what you can just come up with for this session. At the end of the session, you will be familiar with the protocol. So if you then want to, in the safety of your own home, feel okay working through some other stuff, that's absolutely okay. But I will always say, if there's complexity to it, if it's something that you've had for a very long time, If it's something that is so complex emotionally that you don't really fully understand what's going on or where it's coming from, then I would strongly recommend that yes, it actually, yes, originated, of course, happening in both doctors Rudin are from New York. So yes, that's exactly where it's from. And so like I'm saying, this modality works so quickly and it's so powerful that within 2, 3, 4 sessions, overcome a major emotional block or emotional trauma when you're working with a qualified practitioner who knows what they're doing. And after that, you're getting this tool for life that will enable you to do your own work. And that's why it's superior. So many modalities that you cannot do on yourself, whereas this one you can. And so, but once you, like I say, if you've got something super big, don't go there yourself. Just work with somebody. 2, 3, 4 sessions, honestly, most of the time is enough. And then you can continue your own healing. So I hope that makes sense. And so we can do this session safely and responsibly, and everybody hopefully will just connect with it, resonate with it, and we'll see what we get at the end of it. So for those of you who are not familiar and who haven't seen my previous video that I shared about the affirmational stuff that we did, there are 3 different sites, because I said we looking at psychosensory stimulation, right? So we have 3 sites that we use. One of them, just sit back a little so you can see. We going to go from the top of the arms, just like so. It's like, you giving yourself a nice big kind of round hug. And this is the tempo we're going to follow. So it's not too fast, not too quick. You don't have to press down heavily on your arms or anything like that. You don't have to have back contact with your skin. As long as you don't have too many layers, then you're fine. It works fine. So that's one. The second one is the face. The face actually is the most powerful in terms of the delta wave activity that it induces. And it goes like this. So we can sweep from the top here, or we can also do it this way. Okay. So it's just like washing your face. Nice and simple. Again, not pressing too hard, but obviously you want to connect. And then the third one is this. So like washing your hands. Well, obviously you wash your hands like this, but something like that. Yeah. So in terms of the sequence, there is no sequence. That's another beautiful thing. You don't have to remember, I need to do this first and that the other. Obviously, the protocol will have a bit of a sequence, but in terms of how you're applying the touch, there's no sequence. So if you really, really like this way, you can just stick with this. That's fine. If you really, really like stroking your face, obviously, if you have glasses or something like that, you probably need to remove them. But if you just want to stick to one, just stick to one. If you want to mix it up, mix it up. Usually you end up with 1 or 2 favorites, and then the others you just use for variety, so that you change your body position, and if you're there for 15 minutes doing it, you may feel, oh, okay, my arms are tired now, I'll do this, right? So either way is fine. So that's hopefully clear. Of course, as I'm talking you through the protocol, I will be asking you to keep your eyes closed. So that's why it's important that you know this now, because for this protocol, I will actually ask you to keep your eyes closed for most of it, okay? So this way, or this way is fine. Okay. So then, right, so now, okay, this is the time for you to think, if you haven't been, oh yeah, I've got exactly something. This is the time to think of something that you want to get rid of. Some sort of negative feeling that you may have, or negative emotion that is bugging you. Again, please do not go for any sort of big stuff. Just keep it simple for this demonstration, for this exercise. But at the same time, the important thing with havening is that we activate the part of the brain that is triggering you time and time again. So for that to happen, you actually need to connect with that feeling. So if you just say, yeah, I've got this memory and I'm angry about it, but you don't really feel it, that's not going to do it. We need to actually connect with the feeling. So in order to do that, there's a number of things to do. You can close your eyes, so it's easier for you to connect, always easy to go into the body if your eyes are closed. So I would suggest close your eyes right now and try and think about the last time. If you have a specific memory already that produces the feeling, then fine, play the movie of that memory in your mind and focus on the detail, what's happening exactly, zooming into the worst bit of it, all that sort of thing. That will help you connect with that emotion, whatever it may be. And if you don't have a memory, if it's just a feeling that comes up, then think about the last time that you had that feeling. And again, just close your eyes, go a little bit deeper into that feeling. And then I want you, as you're connecting with that, I want you to be thinking, right, so if I was to give this feeling a color, what would it be? Where about is it in your body? I want you to really tune in with where the feeling is in your body. If it's in your head, you're not in the body. You need to bring the feeling into the body. It's going to be somewhere. A lot of people say, oh, solar plexus or your chest or your stomach, that kind of stuffed in the gut or whatever else. So, so make sure you can connect with the feeling in your body. And for some people, that may take a little bit of time, and that's okay. Obviously, there's 71 of you here, and I cannot check with you individually whether you are connecting or not, but just for you to be aware that sometimes it takes a little bit of time to connect with it fully. But you can be thinking of things such as if I was to give it a color or shape, or what temperature is it, things like that. So is it cold feeling or a hot feeling? Is it a sharp or a dull feeling? Is it tingly maybe, or something like that? Maybe it's a stabbing feeling. Maybe it's butterflies. So just think about what that feeling actually is doing inside of you. And so once you've got that, I want you to rate that feeling on the scale of 0 to 10, 0 being that's doing nothing to me whatsoever, no effect in the slightest. Obviously 10 being, wow, that's just super overwhelming. That feeling is super strong. And of course, when I work with people, I will get 8s, 9s, and 10s most of the time, yes, because obviously people approach me and they've got really things that they do want to get rid of, and they're super activated and they're super usually upset about various things. Now, obviously I told you not to bring your big things to the table here, so you may find that I'm feeling irritated, but maybe it's a 5 or a 6. Try and if you are at that lower level or end of the scale, I want you to try and activate it a little bit more. So again, think back to the memory, just play a movie of that memory, and just try and zoom into what was the worst bit about it, what was it that got to you and produced the feeling at that time. And bear in mind that, like with anything, if you're starting from a point where you're super activated and you are really angry, for instance, if you then bring that anger right down, which is what we'll do in a sec, you have more of a difference. So you will notice that more. If you're starting from sort of 5 or 6, the difference is not going to be that huge. So you may think, is that really different? Is that not really different? So that is why I want you to activate it. So now, hopefully, you've got it. I'm giving you more time on purpose because sometimes it takes time for people to really bring that to the surface. And so, right, so now I want you to start applying a havening touch. I want you to close your eyes and really make sure you've got the feeling, and make sure that it is more than 5. If it's so little, if it's 5 or 6, then you're probably not going to feel that much of a difference. So either come up with something different or try and activate it more. So we're more of a 6 upwards at least, okay? And now, as you're applying the havening touch, I want you to, again, you can apply it in whatever way you can. Try and keep your eyes closed until I tell you to open them, and keep self-havening. So whether it's stroking your face, you're stroking your arms, or washing your hands, just keep applying the safe throughout this period of time. And then when I ask you to stop, you stop. But for now, just keep doing it. And I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine, first of all, that you are standing in a bathtub and you feel all your toxic thoughts and emotions draining out of your body. And as you look down, you can see dirty water, and that dirty water is draining out of the bathtub. And you can see that sort of swirl of water just disappearing down the drain. And that is, you imagine all those toxic thoughts and emotions just washing down and being drained away. And just stay there for a moment. And I want you to stay there just for a moment there, because I want you to look at the water and just look at it and until the water starts running clear. So it's dirty at first, and at some point it's going to start running clear. Okay. And again, it will take a varied amount of time depending on the person. So for this purpose of this exercise, because there are so many of you, hopefully you are participating in this, but of course I cannot check with every one of you whether you've got that imagery yet or not. So I'm just going to hopefully give you enough time. But if you feel I'm going too slow or too quickly, just please bear with me. I'm just trying to tailor it so it more or less suits everybody. So now the water is hopefully running clear. I want you to imagine that you're walking in a beautiful location of your choice. I'm not going to tell you where it is, whether it's a beach or a park or whatever. You know where you like to be most. So you imagine those surroundings. You notice the detail, you notice the colors, you notice the sounds, you feel the air on your face, and you feel the ground underneath your feet. And you're noticing that you're feeling comfortable in those surroundings, you're feeling good, you're feeling safe. And now we're going to take 20 steps. So all this time you're still self-havening, and you still have your eyes closed. And we're going to take 20 steps, and we're going to count each step. I'm going to count out loud, so we can all work together with this one. Keeping your eyes closed, applying the havening touch. With each step, you're going to feel a little bit more and more relaxed and calm and peaceful. Okay, so just imagining all those, you're getting further away from all those negative thoughts and feelings. Okay, so here we go. 20, 19, just taking the steps along wherever you are. 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And now I want you to open your eyes for a moment, and keeping your head absolutely still, just moving your eyes by you're following my finger, and you keeping your head still, and you allowing your eyes to move sharply right and sharply left only. It's actually hard to do, moving the finger and moving the eyes. Okay, so I hope you're still self-havening. We still want to keep applying the havening through this. Okay, and now back to closing your eyes. We're still havening. And so now I want you, as you keep your eyes closed and you're applying the havening touch, I want you to hum or sing your favorite tune or a nursery rhyme. It really doesn't matter what you're saying. It could be Twinkle, Twinkle, or Nelly the Elephant, or whatever other nursery rhymes you can remember, or just simply humming or singing your favorite tune. So I just give you a moment to just do that. Just do that for, say, 15, 20 seconds before we move on to the next instruction. Okay, great. Continue applying self-havening. And now I want you to count backwards from 30 in threes. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're good at math. It really doesn't matter if you get it wrong. That's not the point of this exercise. The point of this exercise is to activate different parts of the brain. So that's why we're counting, we're moving, we're imagining movement. So we're doing all of those different things to activate different areas of the brain, okay? So we're going from 30 in threes backwards. Now I'll just give you a moment to do that in your mind, or if you want to do it out loud, you can do it out loud. Okay, and then one more time, open your eyes, keep your head absolutely straight, keep applying the havening touch, and just move your eyes sharply right, sharply left, just following my fingers here. Obviously, you can do it without following anything, but just to make you go sharply right, sharply left. That's why I'm doing this. So now take a deep breath in. Exhale through your mouth fully. Okay. And now what I want you to do next is to go back in your eyes mind to that same, if you imagine the memory of you connected with the feeling straight away, whichever way you connected with that feeling before, I want you to do the same thing. I want you to access it in the same way. And I want you to look for it, try and find it. And you obviously know what it was on the scale of 0 to 10 before. So I want you to again score it now. And hopefully we're having a trend in a downward direction. So what usually happens, you can please feel free to comment. I would love to know what's happening and whether, if you're following in with this exercise, that you actually, you can give me the numbers. I would love to know where you were, so give me 2 numbers, where you were before, where you are now. That would be awesome if people can comment, please. So normally what happens is that if you start really high, you will drop by a few points. If you started a bit lower, then you drop, but you probably have a harder time figuring out whether it's moved 7 to 0. Oh, cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. That, yes, of course, that can happen. That can happen. But oftentimes we need to repeat the round a few times over, usually 2-3 times, and that is usually enough. Even if the person is starting at 10, that's usually enough. And now I was going to say, so Denise says still 9, Siv says 5 down to 1, perfect. Now, if you are remaining at a high level, then it's not that this is not working. This works. But what actually is happening, that this feeling that you're trying to work on is probably linked to something else. There's more complexity to it. So normally in the session, we would dig a little bit deeper of what this could be connected to that is potentially blocking you from coming down from that 9. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Most people are saying so much anger gone. Thank you very much. Wonderful. Oh, I love that. This is so awesome. 6 down to 1. I don't even care. Thank you for saying that, because usually the result of this is that you may have the memory still of what happened, but that's exactly what you know. You're kind of thinking about it, and there's no feeling. There's no negative thing. There's just no feeling. That you just don't care. Perfect. That's exactly it. I was just gonna say. Whoa, really excited about this process. Michelle says, I went from 8 to a 4. Unbelievable. I love it. I love it that you're sharing it with me. That's really cool. Because, you know, from my point of view, I'm sitting here going through this, and I don't know whether you guys are doing it or not and what's happening on the other side. So I love it that you're sharing this with me. That's unbelievable. So, okay. So a few people have gone down to 0 or 1. So I'm guessing at this point you're thinking, well, yeah, 0, obviously 0. That's it. Doesn't bother me. A 1 or a 2. Can I live with it? Yeah, probably. Not that big a deal. I mean, if you wanted to take it down to 0, then you would do this process again and you would take it down to 0, right? So some people have gone a few points down. So there's still maybe 3, 4, or a 5. And so then, yeah, I would definitely, if I was working with somebody, I would definitely go through the process again. Joan is saying from 8 to 3. Perfect. That's brilliant. We could take it further down, of course. In case of, who was it? Denise. Denise said still at 9. So as you can see, Denise, from the comment, it's people are reporting a difference. So I'm hoping that you're not going to just say, oh, no, this doesn't work. I obviously, it's hard to say what's exactly happening, but from experience, that feeling you're working on is just connected to other things. So you need to almost go through the back door, if you know what I'm saying, and perhaps sort out something else first, and then that will either resolve on its own, or we can then bring it down more easily. So that's what the process would be. So we cannot do absolutely everything, like I said, and work on super complex things in the way we're working right now. It's just not possible. But hopefully you can see the potential. So then I would go, okay, so you've rated it. So you close your eyes again. And actually, for those of you who are still slightly elevated and you want to bring it further down, let's go through this process again, because it's going to consolidate it for you. And then you're going to be confident you're hopefully using this on your own without me there. And then for you, for those of you who are at 0 or 1, you can just do the havening and be promoting the peace of calm and relaxation for a few minutes, and that's super beneficial also. Or think about the things that you want to implant in your brain, something positive instead of that feeling that was there before, if that makes sense. Okay. So all right. So then I just want to go through this process again, because I'll give you some other ideas of those distractions that we're using. So closing your eyes and you're connecting with the feeling again, and even if it is at a 3 or 4 or whatever it may be. Oh, my chat's disappeared. Great. Michelle says, I don't have the anxiety that I did when I first brought this feeling up. This is wonderful. It is wonderful. I absolutely love it too. So right. So let's do that again. Those of you who still have a residual feeling, connect with that feeling again. First of all, again, go through that same thought process, because you need to get to that feeling. That is the important bit. You need to activate that. Then this time, close your eyes, continue the havening like before, exactly the same as before. And now imagine yourself walking down the flight of steps. And with each step that you take down, you feel more and more relaxed and calm. And again, you're getting further and further away from any of those negative feelings or thoughts or emotions. Okay, and I'll count that for you. So 20, 19. And everybody else just haven away. It's still doing a lot of good. 18. 17. 16. 15. 14. 13. 12. 11. 10. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. and 1. And again, keeping your eyes closed, continue to haven. Just choose yourself another tune to hum or even sing out loud. Either way is great. Just again, activating a different part of the brain this time. So just do a little bit of humming or singing, whatever it is, whether it's your favorite tune or some nursery thing or whatever else. It really is not important exactly what it is. But if it's something that makes you feel good, like your favorite song, then obviously even better, yes? Okay. And again, open your eyes and you continue to haven and you go sharply right and sharply left with your arms, with your eyes even, without moving your head. Well, this multitasking is quite challenging, actually. Okay, and now again back to havening and closing your eyes. And now this time I imagine that you walk in a meadow full of flowers, and it's nice and easy. They're non-allergenic flowers, okay, just in case. And as you walk, you feel the ground beneath your feet, the grass is nice and soft, maybe the sun shining on your face. And as you walk around, you count the flowers. So we're going to count the flowers now. So 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And keep your eyes closed and continue to haven. And this time, imagine yourself in a shop full of wonderful vintage china, and there's a display and it's full of this nice intricate looking little Chinese teacups. And so as you imagining you're there exploring all the designs and colors, we're going to count them. So again, I'll do that for you. So 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, and one more time. Please open your eyes, keep havening, and do the eye movement. Right and left. Okay, now take a deep breath in. Exhale fully. Okay, so now obviously I will ask you what's happening again. I mean, those of you who have brought it down to 0 and 1 in the first place, fantastic. I hope you just took the opportunity to haven in some positive emotions. But has anybody else shifted? I'll be quite interested, Denise, if you're still there. Denise, can you tell me if you have shifted from the 9? And anybody else who wants to tell me where they with the scores, that would be fabulous. I really love to see that. I just find it so interesting that that we can interact in this way, and you're still having the effect is brilliant. So the reason why I did it for a second time, as you can see, it is very similar, but I will just wanted to sort of give you some other ideas, because essentially what distraction techniques you use, it really doesn't matter as long as you imagine yourself moving and then counting. That's kind of what we're going for, and then humming, singing, humming, counting. That's sort of activates, as I said, activates different areas of the brain, and that's what we want. But essentially, and the eye movement, you need to incorporate that as well, ideally. So basically, fantastic. So you're bringing chakras into this, which is just great, because another great thing about havening is that it integrates with any other modalities that you're already using anyway. You can just superb. So yeah, so you can, you know, just staying moved into the root chakra and feeling a lot more grounded. That's a great result. And then we have, you know, yawning and things like that are indeed a sign of releasing. Sometimes you will feel this deep breath coming on, and you just can't resist, but just kind of that kind of breath, you know, sometimes that will happen. More relaxed, maybe 3 down to 1, Joan, fabulous. So Denise, if you're still there, just tell me if you've shifted from the 9. But if you still haven't, then there's definitely that resistance is to do with the feeling being linked to something else. So hopefully that gives you the idea. Can you see how simple this protocol is? And like I said, there's no protocol in terms of applying the havening touch itself, but of course there's the steps to the protocol in terms of getting rid of the emotions. The important thing being connect with the feeling first, then you've activated that, and immediately you distract yourself with all of those other things that we've covered, and you can use your imagination. It doesn't have to always be exactly the same. So that is the important part, using the humming, the counting, imagining movement, imagining yourself moving away from the negative, and actually just imagine yourself feeling more and more relaxed and calm. Imagine yourself in nice surroundings, etc., etc. And obviously the eye movement is important as well. So as I said, the more upsetting something is to begin with, the higher you are on the scale, the more of you feel, you know, wow, okay, this is so different from what I just felt 5 minutes ago, because it can be this quick, okay? With more complex things, it can take a few sessions, but it doesn't take heaps of time to resolve even complex things. So do you have any questions at all that you may want to ask me? I thank you so much for participating and letting me know that you have indeed had some result from this. That's great. And hopefully you can see how that can become your go-to thing whenever, because I tell you this, a lot of people actually do this instinctively, by the way, right? So you sometimes see people who have no idea what havening is, okay? Or in fact that they're doing what they're doing. Sometimes when people feel uncomfortable, that's great. Okay, from 7 to 2 is brilliant. So sometimes you see people do this and they have no idea that they're doing what they're doing. But sometimes people will go like, they feel uncomfortable and they will just do this, or they'll do that for other people. So somebody is upset, somebody will go, oh, and they will rub their arm, right? So it's instinctive. Or sometimes you see people just sort of, when they're uncomfortable, stressed out, just rubbing their hands or touching their face. People do it instinctively. But when you know what you're doing, you can be more targeted. And sometimes, even when you say you're sitting in a meeting at work and somebody is highly irritating and you're feeling your stress level rising, you can just rub your hands under the table. Nobody's even going to realize, and nobody's going to know what you're doing. So obviously, touching the face is a bit different, but you can use this in so many other, so many situations where maybe you feel yourself feeling the stress levels rising. So yeah, I mean, I thank you all for participating. So before you go, if there are any questions, simple yet effective, it's exactly right. And because we have so much better understanding of neuroscience these days, we can be very, very targeted with those things. Back in the day, we were shooting in the dark a little bit with some of the modalities, and that's why it would take forever and they were overly complicated and not very effective. Whereas now we can go straight to the root, straight to the point, and sometimes those really, really simple things are the most effective. So yeah, I thank you all for participating. And just before you go, I said I've got a bonus for you, so I am going to great. People are saying that they're new to Havening, but I've converted them and they're going to use it, so that's great. That's obviously mission accomplished from my point of view. So if you feel, because this is just one thing that we're presenting at the summit, there's just going to be so much information of this caliber and of this quality and of this the content that is really beneficial and really useful. So if you're now thinking that maybe you do want to own the material and obviously all the access to all the bonuses, there's loads of bonus stuff in there as well. And the value of that, the time that people have put into this, myself and all the speakers, that it's of huge value. So if you're now deciding that maybe this is something you want to own, then I want to give you the best value ever for this event. And you can have lifetime access to all the sessions, obviously, including practical sessions, audio files which are downloadable, so you can listen on your phone when you're out and about, all of that sort of stuff. And then, of course, all the bonuses, everything that is included in the package. Because you're here and you're participating and you're obviously receptive to my content, then I want to, give you the best value on this. So if you want to take advantage of this, you can get. I'll give you a code. Okay, so this is my discount code. I'm trying to see what it is and just make sure we give you the right thing. And that will bring the price of this whole package down to just $54. And that's going to be, so that's really super value. I mean, there's so much stuff there. There's over, $3,000 worth of content there. So this is the value. And if you decide that this is something you do want to own, then this is, you go to this page and you enter this coupon code that I've given you, and you can just own this information. If you choose not to own this information, then of course, you just tune in. Come Friday, the 14th, we're kicking off on Friday for 7 days. There will be an encore day, but it is a lot of material. It's 40 sessions, so it is a lot of material. I hope you can make time to listen to as much as you can, really, and get as much benefit out of it as possible, because that's really why it's been created. If you know anybody else who can benefit and want to watch it, then do share it with other people, because it is life-changing and it is health-changing information. And this, what I showed you today, is just one modality, and we've got so much more in there to share with you. And so yeah, so I hope you you will benefit yourself, but you also perhaps have friends and family who can benefit from it too. So just keep spreading the word about it, because people are stuck with so many things that are chronic negative feelings, and that interferes with people's lives, not to mention their physical health. So if somebody can resolve it, I mean, how quick was this? I mean, okay, we were not working on big problems and big traumas, but you can, even with the negative feelings and things that you have selected, a lot of you clearly, a lot of you who have participated have clearly seen that it went down so quickly, and people can be stuck with things for years, and then they can resolve it in a matter of minutes. It's crazy, right? So we want to share it with as many as possible, because to me, and that will be my final message, when you think about we starting our healing with ourselves, and if we can improve our emotional state, we will improve our physical health. We will have longevity, because if we have a well-functioning body and a well-functioning brain and nervous system, we're going to have quality life in later years. And obviously that's what it's all about. It's not just about living for a long time, but having the quality. And when we feel good, and when we feel kind, and we feel calm and gentle and with the world, then that ripples out as well. And then we just, we kinder to other people, and then other people reciprocate, etc., etc. I hope that this is a wider message and bigger message, but I hope that you see how by spreading this around, we actually making the whole world better. And that is ultimately, everybody can do a little bit to make that happen. So, and that would be my final message. I hope that you enjoyed this, and looking forward to sharing more with you when the summit starts. And yeah, hopefully you get tons of benefit out of watching this event. So thank you very much for now, and look after yourselves. And obviously, you can always approach me, ask me questions. Talk to me via email, comments, or whatever, things like that. I'm always open to hearing from you. So yeah, bye for now. And thank you all.